Alright, back. I took a little bathroom break too. Just figured why I do it. Usually that's what I do. If I go on a bathroom break, grab some water. And vice versa. I'm sure she's gotten her fill of odd looks before. After a certain amount of time, I doubt she'd notice anymore. Not that she'd ever tell me if I asked. Another fact is, I'm not just uncomfortable about the bus. I can't seem to come to terms with the fact that Emmy appears to be trying to bring me closer while at the same time pushing me away. Meeting the parents is a big deal, right? Parent, I'm telling you, her father's going to be dead. Not that I haven't already met Emmy's mother, but that was just as an acquaintance. Now it's going to be as Emmy's boyfriend with everything that implies. I feel my heart pounding in my chest and echo of that snow-covered afternoon that feels like it was so long ago that it might as well be another life entirely. Except then, I didn't know how I was going on. I didn't have medication to help prevent things spiraling out of control. I've come a long way in terms of my physical health, and for the second time today, I feel like I'll be able to live normally now, or at least as normally as possible. Now, if only I could manage my relationship as well as I've managed my heart, I'd be in great shape. Yeah, I like this outfit. It's cute. Well, we're here. Emmy grabs my hand as soon as we've stepped off the bus. She starts heading down the street almost immediately. Come on, we've got a couple blocks until my place. What? Oh, okay. I follow Emmy down the streets, watching her confident stride. She's settling kind of quick pace as for just a walk. I guess she's anxious to get there. So does your mom do this sort of thing often? Nah, not too frequently. Mom's never been much for playing hostess. Oh yeah? Yeah, my dad was always the one pushing her to have people over. Oh. This sudden unpromoted reference to her father catches me off guard. From the look on Emmy's face, I'm not sure she meant to mention him. I think I've only heard her talk about him once. All I remember is that Emmy's mom told me that he wasn't around anymore. Oh, your mom prefers solitude? Emmy laughs, either from relief that I didn't ask about her father, or finding my statements actually funny. Not at all. She's why I'm such an outgoing person, you know. She just prefers to be a guest rather than a hostess. It's less stressful that way, or so she says. Clearly she's never had to meet her girlfriend's mother for dinner. Emmy giggles again and speaks in a teasing tone. Nervous, Hisao? You shouldn't be, you know. It's not that big a deal. Just dinner at my house, that's all. Yeah, but have you ever brought home a boyfriend before? I confess that part of me dreads hearing the answer to this. I know very little of Emmy's past relationships. I don't even know if there were past relationships. No, I guess I haven't. Hey, maybe this is really kind of a big deal after all. Oh good, now I feel twice as nervous. Though to tell the truth, I'm pretty happy to hear that I'm the first one. Maybe we've got something special after all. Bolstered by this new thought, I've managed to calm down considerably by the time Emmy knocks on her front door. Hey Mom, open up, we're here. The door swings open and Mrs. Barisaki, God damn it, don't bring her fucking name back. I think I'm pounding more than when I was pissed at Hisao. Stands grinning at her daughter. The grin is still surprisingly similar to Emmy's. I'm never going to get used to that. You know, people normally wait for a few minutes before they start shouting at the door. And most mothers say hello to their daughter instead of scolding them right away. Ah, of course. Welcome home, dear. I've missed you. An affectionate hug later, we're inside, and it's only then that Emmy's mom seems to remember that I'm actually here. And hello to you too, Hisao. How are you? I'm quite well, thank you. I just did not have school to worry about this for a little bit. I guess they're on break, so... Ah yes, you've finished your exams, haven't you? That would be quite a relief for you both. Certainly weight off my mind, that's for sure. Mine too. I think I slept well for the first time in weeks last night from relief alone. If this news is a surprise to Emmy's mother, she doesn't show it. Still, her response betrays a note of interest. Is that so? I'm very glad to hear that, Emmy. You know, I get worried when you get all wound up about, well, exams. Certainly Emmy's mother knows something I don't. Or rather, she doesn't know that Emmy's told her about the nightmares. Or Emmy's told me about the nightmares. It's interesting because that looks like Mountain Dew. Sorry, it caught my eye. I was like, there's no way it says Mountain Dew. It doesn't. Just big label. Anyway, sorry. It's interesting being able to observe how Mrs. Urbarazaki covers for Emmy. That protective instinct to make sure that I don't know any more than Emmy's willing to tell me. I wonder if Mrs. Urbarazaki will figure out that I know about the nightmares, or if she's just going to keep everything secret from everybody. Yeah, it's not been as bad this year as in the past. The South helped me stay focused. Okay, I know that's not true. She even cut off contact outside of school hours during exam week. But she did see me during the day. She told me more than once that the morning run was the only thing she looked forward to during exams, so maybe it's not that much of a lie. Either way, to hear that being around has helped even a little makes me feel a bit better. Emmy's mother raised an eyebrow at this statement. Either she doesn't believe Emmy, or she's as surprised as I am. Well, then it appears to be a good thing you two have become so close. I'd tell you to take good care of my daughter, Hisao, but it looks like you're already doing that. Yay, cool, Mom. Not shotgun ready, which is usually the dad, so anyways. I've never really had a problem with parents that much. Emmy grins at this and seems to take pride in my having managed to ingratiate myself with her mother so easily. Actually, I'd say your daughter's been the one taking care of me. She's gotten me out and running. I've probably been more active since meeting her than I ever have even before. I'd actually never thought of it as much, nor have I to appreciate the humor in it. I wasn't too active before the heart attack. Pickup games of soccer don't really count since they weren't that common. So now that I know for sure that I have a weak heart, now I run every day, pushing my luck with the help of my medication. I chuckle quietly, then realize I never finished my sentence well before I had my heart attack and wound up at the school here. It comes out so casually. There was a time that I would have thought twice about talking about what was wrong with me at all. But now it just seems silly to care, especially in the company of Emmy and her mother. If Emmy can be a cavalier about her disability, then so can I. I think back to the track meet where Emmy declared herself the fastest thing on no legs. The fact that her obvious loss had never seemed to bother her, at least not in public. Being stuck in a wheelchair frustrated her, I know. But even that was something she dealt with on her own, despite my efforts to be to the contrary. Emmy has a way of bringing out more active side in people. I've never quite figured out how she does it. Those puppy eyes she gets, for starters. I'm not surprised that she managed to rope you into an exercise routine. If Rin weren't just as stubborn as she is, I'm sure that Emmy would have gotten her out and running with you too. Oh, that reminds me, Rin says hello. I drift to the outer edges of the conversation again as we move into the dining room to eat. It smells delicious in here, and the spread of that Emmy's mom has produced is impressive. Whoa, you've made enough to feed an army in here. Is it too much? Well, you can always take some leftovers with you when you go. That sounds great. I can only handle cafeteria food for so long. Something home cooked would be a great change of pace. What he said. Thanks, Mom. The food tastes as good as it smells, and there's a lull in the conversation while we all dig in. Emmy assaults her plate with the usual amount of gusto. I will admit that I set a pretty fast pace myself. So, Hisao, I hear that you and my daughter here have gotten rather close, The urge to say something like "not really" is so strong that I open my mouth to say it, but then reassert control. We are close. That's no getting around it. I mean, Emmy's brought me here, hasn't she? Fortunately, both Emmy and her mother seem to take my reaction as a sign that I'm caught off guard rather than considering something cruel. I suppose we have. I blame the morning runs myself. You make it sound like a bad thing, Hisao. Well, I for one found it a relief. Why's that? Emmy's always been a popular girl, but never made many close friends. This is a bit of news to me. I always see Emmy chatting with her classmates in the hallways. I'm gonna lose my voice. It's gonna be great. And certainly the whole track team seems to love her, but sure that she chooses to isolate herself during lunch with Rin and me. Not exactly the sort of behavior one expects from a popular girl, after all. Gotta crack my neck. That didn't go as well. Then again, I've experienced her unwillingness to get close firsthand, so I can't say that I'm that surprised. I was beginning to have my doubts. Emmy rolls her eyes to the ceiling and grumbles something I can't quite make out. Huh? What? Was that you just said? Nothing. Mrs. Mrs. Ibarazaki chokes on her drink with laughter. You've been hanging out with the nurse too long, Emmy. I'm going to have to talk about him about corrupting my daughter. Somehow I don't think that would be very effective. I'll learn most of it from you anyway, not the nurse. Don't listen to her, Sal. She's a born liar. Yeah, right. Oh, I don't know, Emmy. I think your mother has a point. What? You traitor. You're supposed to take my side in this. Yeah, but did you lie about your leg after the meet? And then she was kicked, and that's where that... Oh, did she... After the meet... Ow! Okay, so it's supposed to... Okay. A kick in the shins from an unmistakable plastic foot cuts me off, but not before. This is a Barazaki. Eyebrows shoot upwards. What about your leg? It wasn't a big deal, that's all. It was, I just was, in a wheelchair for a bit. The last few mumbled words are so quick deciphered by Emmy's mother. I suspect that she has experience from this sort of thing, and a worried frown appears on her face. So that's why he kept dodging my calls. Oh, Emmy, I know how much you hate being in a wheelchair. No wonder you've been in such a mood lately. Yeah, she's much happier on her feet, so to speak. Well, of course, she spent enough time in a chair just after the accident. She didn't get prosthetics immediately? No, she had to finish healing up before they'd let her start that sort of therapy. You've got to go through to adjust to those things, especially since she wanted to run on them. I had no idea. Yeah, it sucked. Oh, did you see Rin's mural at the festival? Emmy's sudden change of topic makes me realize belatedly that she's been fidgeting the whole time her mother and I have been talking. I should have figured on her being a little skittish when it comes to talking about the accident, even around her mother. No, I didn't make it out at the festival, remember? Although I caught a glimpse of it at your track meet, it seemed pretty weird to me. I think that's more or less what she was going for. She talked a lot about it being dreamlike, or trying to make it dreamlike. Rin's art is one of those things I don't think I'll ever understand. That's not surprising. I don't think Rin expects to understand. She told me once that art allows people to understand stuff that they wouldn't understand otherwise, or all the same, she doesn't think it actually works that way. I'm surprised that Emmy's talked about this with Rin extensively enough to actually have Rin's opinion such as it is. Although I expect that Rin could not, if she was so inclined, to say the same thing about Emmy's. Unless, of course, Emmy is purposely keeping me in the dark about everything, which is likely, but unpleasant to think about. I drift down to the unpleasant train of thought for a while, losing track of conversation. Hey, Emmy, I've been meaning to ask. Huh. Are you going to visit your father this year? His grave, or is he still alive? From the way she says it, you'd think Emmy's mother was talking about the weather. From the way Emmy reacts, it's clearly not the weather they're talking about. She flinches, a slight jerk of the head backwards, as if she's just been slapped in the face. Can we talk about this later? Oh, don't cry. It looks like she's about to cry. I can't tell. There's like tears brimming at the end. Her voice sounds brittle, strained. It looks as if she's been severely shaken by the question. It seems like Mrs. Ibarazaki misjudged just how close Emmy and I are. Some of the things it seems are best not converse around with me around her father is one of these things. The accident that took her legs is probably another one of those things. If her reaction to the earlier conversation between her mother and myself is any indication, it doesn't take Emmy's mother wrong to realize she's screwed up. Of course we can, dear. I'm sorry to bring it up. I just wanted to ask so I could make plans. It's fine. Don't worry about it. Emmy fidgets nervously, as if embarrassed by her own reaction. I confess that her reaction is confusing. She only just mentioned her father to me earlier today, less than a few hours ago even. Why does a simple question about when she'll visit her father because she's caused such a strong reaction? Because he's either dead or he did something really stupid. Unless whatever serenity she claimed to have reached by means of our talk the previous evening has suddenly evaporated, or didn't help as much as she thought or claimed. I'll be right back. Gotta visit the little girl's room. Emmy gets up and suddenly leaves the table, leaving me and Mrs. Abarazaki alone. I'm a little conflicted. Should I go after her, or should I stay here? It's obvious that Emmy's departure was not based on the call of nature. Something's bothering her, and I have to know what it is. The only way to find out is to go to the source, and the source is currently pretending that she has to use the toilet. I excuse myself politely from the table and head that way, only to catch sight of Emmy, not in the bathroom, but in the kitchen just next to the living room. Emmy's left the door open, and as I approach, I can see she's holding onto the table in an attempt to compose herself, an effort that fails as soon as I open my mouth. Doesn't look like nature's call was that urgent. Emmy jumps and glares at me. What are you doing here? I don't come here to be with other people. I didn't come here to be with other people. I just wanted to help you. You look pretty rattled. Don't say help! She's gonna freak out. I said it was nothing, didn't I? And besides, I thought we'd established that you can't help me. No, we've established that you're stubborn. Look who's talking, the guy who followed me. This is different. I want to help you with whatever this is. Funny, because I just want you to leave me alone. But why? Why can't you just trust me? We've been over this already, Hisao. I've got to deal with this stuff on my own. I won't accept that. You need my help. You just won't take it. My wording seems to have been a little off. Need? I need your help? Oh. Well, it's a good thing we met, isn't it? Because otherwise, I guess I'd just be a broken human being, wouldn't I? No, it's a damn good thing that Hisao came along to save the day, isn't it? Because God knows I can't save myself, can I? I'm just poor, emotionally damaged girl with no legs, right? Emmy, you know I don't think that. Really, because you thought differently then I don't think you'd be here saying I need your help. I've gotten pretty far in life as a normal human being without you. God, I'm getting into this. So what? Nothing we've shared was important? I'm just the guy who hangs out with you? You're my boyfriend, Hisao, not my savior. Well, no, that much is obvious. You won't even consider that I could be a help to you, will you? You'll just bottle it all up and hope that a run will solve your problems, or you'll come visit me and we'll fool around until you feel better. That's not being a healthy human being, Emmy. That's not what a relationship means. Well, if what it means to me right now, Hisao, I wish... She seems to consider her words just, and a flicker of pain and doubt on her face. For a moment, I think she's about to cry. But the moment passes, and now she's composed herself again. Whatever that wish was, will have to go unspoken. Look, I can't do this right now. What, have a serious conversation? Be open? Be honest? Give a damn about anyone besides yourself and your problems? Oh, you... He done goofed. What do you know about my problems? Nothing. You don't know what I've been through, so don't pretend that you do. I know you have nightmares. I know your father's gone. What happened to him? Oh! Emmy's head jerks backwards as if I've just slapped her. That brittle quality has gone back into her voice. That's enough. This is stupid. The whole conversation has just been variations of Emmy stonewalling me. What, you won't even answer that question? Fine, keep your secrets. They can lie in the grave as far as I'm concerned. Oh, no... Emmy's eyes widen in shock. When she speaks again, it's a voice that is low, dangerous. Get out of my house, Hisao. That's the face of not evil, devious. The sudden change in her tone snaps me out of self-righteous anger and makes me realize with a dawning horror what I've just said. Emmy, I didn't mean... I said go, Hisao. Tell my mother that she cooked a wonderful meal, but you've forgotten a prior engagement. Get out of my house. She's trembling now, shaking with anger, or sadness, or determination. Her voice is still low, controlled, almost a growl. I reach out to put an arm around her shoulder to apologize for going too far, but she jerks away from my touch. Get out. What can I do? I walk out of the kitchen, go to the living room, make my apology to Mrs. Abarazaki, and let myself out. Ugh. I know the last part's supposed to be hard, but god damn it. God fucking damn it. The morning alarm sounds and I roll over, switching it off. My eyes open blearily to the stare at the ceiling. What am I going to do? Do I get out of bed? Go down to the track? Pretend that nothing happened? Will Emmy even show up after last evening's events? I doubt it. Even supposing that she did, what would I do then? get over this fight just to dance the same routine this next time something's bothering her. I know that I spoke hastily last night, especially trying to use her father as leverage. But was anything I said really off the mark? She won't let me in, ever. And she'll be forced to suffer alone. Nothing I do, nothing I say is going to change that. She won't change. She's already decided to keep me at arm's length. Can I really bring myself to go down there, see her, knowing that I'm never going to get past where I am now? No, I decide I really can't. Not today. I roll over and go back to sleep. She probably won't be there anyway. Knock, knock, knock. A similar mental conversation repeats itself when it comes time to go to lunch, and I eat in the cafeteria, alone. I don't want to see her. The very thought makes me feel ill. That night, I go for a run. I'm solo for the first time since Emmy got sick after the track meet. Skipped seeing the nurse just in case he asked about Emmy. I don't want to talk about her either. The next day I do the same thing. Alarm off, stay in bed, eat alone, run alone. To fill the time that I usually be spending with Emmy, I start reading more. It works surprisingly well, until I find myself ducking into a restroom because I see her walking down the hall in between classes. If she noticed me, she didn't show it, even though I don't suppose she ever shows anything. Certainly not to the girls from her class I see talking cheerfully to her. Or to her fellow track members, especially not to me. Alarm off, stay in bed. Mateo and I have a lengthy talk about the possibility that string theory is plausible. I don't buy it myself. I do. I know something, I think. I'm pretty sure string theory is for every decision we have, there's an alternate universe where we chose something different. But it's more simple than that. It's not as simple as yes, no. Or we could use this playthrough, for example. And yes, I'm talking science, but good. Science is good. Anyways. So, oh god, I'm going to be talking a lot. Anyways, probably go for a water break after this. But anyways, so, this playthrough, all the choices I've made, including my screw-upper wanting to change choice earlier, there could be an alternate reality where I picked that choice, or didn't change, or that, or decided I don't want to go with Emmy. I'm going to go with Rin, or Shizune, or Hanako, or Lily, which are all the choices. But, in this universe, I went with that. And this strings out more than just choices. In another universe, I could be a girl. I could have nothing to do with gaming. I could be a jock. I could not exist. I mean, we're just talking about me. Me, as an individual, it'd be over trillions. It'd pretty much be an almost infinite amount of, except for one B. Well, maybe it could be infinite amount of parallel universes just connected to me. Where there's some variation. There could be one where I don't have an arm. Or something like that. I mean, there's probably quadrillions, probably more than quadrillions, about just this playthrough. Maybe. Yeah, choice of wordings. There's side speeches. That could be string theory. There isn't really proof. You can't really prove that doesn't exist, because it's a theory. Theories usually can't be proven. For the most part. I don't remember the actual definition of theory. It's been forever for that. But just, yeah. But, so, string theory, I believe, could possibly exist. If we're talking about the same thing, which we'll find out probably in conversation. But I am going to get a drink, because, I just talk so much. Alright, I'm back. I chugged the fucking water, got some more, Jesus. Kind of not straining my throat. It's kind of that sore. Usually I would stop by now, but it's just, it's been so good. I'm like, screw it. Make up for not recording this morning, because I couldn't really. But Tao and I have a lengthy talk about the possibilities of, okay, more than 4 dimensions I can buy. But a bunch of vibrating strings at a subatomic level, that's asking a bit much. So I was right. Yeah. Looks like I'm not the only one to think this way, too. Apparently it's not really as strong a theory as it once was. Tao says that just because nobody has found the right way of looking at the data yet. Eat alone. The rooftop is deserted today. I briefly wonder where Emmy and Rin are, but shrug off the question. The important thing is they are here, so I wanted to talk to them. Since I have nobody to talk to, I bring a book with me to read. The weather's nicer, and it's getting a little hot. Hopefully it'll be cooler in the evenings. The cool breeze seems to back up my theory. Run alone. It is, in fact, cooler at the track. No signs of Emmy, which is exactly the sort of thing I'm going for. I stretch out, start on my usual run, trying harder to ignore the lacking of a running partner in front of me. Finding my thoughts drifting damnably to that girlish laugh, incorrigible grin, those wide and friendly eyes, her incredibly toned body. I increase the pace to clear my head, chew up the distance between me and the turns. Find the speed that makes me think only of my legs and how much they burn. I glance at my watch as I round the final turn, noting that my time's gotten faster. My heart seems a little squirrely tonight, so I give myself a few extra cooldown laps just to be safe. No reason to bring this to the nurse's attention. I'll be fine. A rather Emmy-ish thought to have, I'll admit. I have to hope that eventually I'll stop thinking about her so much. I finished another book before going to bed that night. I'll have to stop by the library tomorrow. Oh, not Katawa Shoujo song. I don't know why I keep the early alarm on anymore, but it wakes me up the next morning just the same. I turn it off and go back to sleep. That afternoon, as I get ready to head to the cafeteria for another solo lunch, I've got a new book about a couple of con men in ancient Persia that I've been excited about to read. I am considerably cornered by Misha and... Huh? I guess just Misha. Off to eat alone again, Hichan? We've noticed, you know. We? Uh-huh, Hichan and I noticed that you've been spending more time alone. She wanted me to find out why, so I told her I'd ask you. I'm surprised she didn't ask me herself. She would have, but she wanted to get a head start on some paperwork. There's a lot of it since we're coming up to the end of the term, you know. Why this sudden interest in my well-being, anyway? Asha-chan, it said it's the duty of the student council to keep track of the emotional health of its students, to allow a constituent to spiral into depression unchecked would be an unforgivable failure in this council's duties. Well, that's easy then. I'm not depressed. But you're eating alone and nobody's seen you and Emmy together at all. Something happened, didn't it, Chan? Misha's voice takes a slightly sterner tone, though somehow she keeps the familiar lilt at the end of her sentences. I purse my lips, uncertain about how to respond. Give in and let Misha know. Well, I suppose someone else knowing about my problem can't hurt. Heck, maybe Misha can even offer some advice. We had a fight at her house. I keep trying to get close to her and she won't let me get close in. I said something stupid and she threw me out. Have you talked to her since then? Misha looks genuinely concerned. I'm surprised, as I'd almost expected her to drop the subject after finding out what the trouble was. Even more surprising is how quickly I find myself spilling my guts to her. No, I haven't. I just can't bring myself to face her after that. I make a complete fool of myself, and she probably hates me now anyway, especially since I haven't seen her since then. You're pretty slow, Hichan. This doesn't sound like advice, huh? Misha places her hands on her hip and launches into a speech that would sound more plausible coming from Shizune. The solution to your problem is simple. You have to go and apologize to her. Leaving things like this will just make things worse. You can't know that she hates you now unless she tells you. Otherwise, there's no evidence that what you fear is true. And if you really care about her, shouldn't you be worried about how she's taking all this? With a sudden start, I realize that she's right. I've kept waking up to an early alarm because part of me wants to meet Emmy at the track for our runs. I've kept running because I know that Emmy would worry about me if I didn't stay healthy. When I went to the roof yesterday, I was hoping that she would be up there and felt disappointed when she wasn't. I'm an idiot. Kinda, Hichan. So, go and apologize to her as soon as you can, okay? I open my mouth to say that. I'll do it away, but the lunch bell's ring and I realize that I still have afternoon classes to attend. First thing after class is over, I'll go see her, I promise. And thanks for the advice, I guess. Misha beams at me, as if I were a child that had just learned his ABCs. Good, I'll let Shichan know that you're okay then. Yeah, you do that. With a wave, and completely disregarding the fact that people are starting to trickle back into the classroom as opposed to out of it, Misha departs the classroom. I suppose she and Shizune have student council business again. While the afternoon wears on, I find myself impatient for lessons to end. I need to see Emmy now. I have to try to set things right. Even if Emmy hates me now, I have to at least apologize. I owe her that much. Should I meet her in her room? No, I decided it would delay things too much. If I know Emmy, then I can find her at the track. Still have no idea what I'm going to say when I get there, but I take comfort in knowing that Emmy probably wouldn't have a plan for something like this either. Play it by ear. Stop being nervous, and just get to the track. Figure the rest out when I get there. The track looms ahead, and another jolt of nerves hits me in the gut. I resist the urge to turn and walk away, and instead note the satisfaction that I was right and Emmy is still running. I don't make myself immediately known. I find a seat in the bleachers and watch her run instead, thinking back to earlier meetings. After a few trips around the track, Emmy notices me and skids to a halt, an expression of surprise that slides easily into one of anger. Oh shit, what are you doing here? Not quite the response I'd hoped for, but at this point, I don't feel much of a choice. I wanted to apologize for what I said the other day. The other day? She laughs, a curt exclamation of disbelief. It's been almost a week, Hisao. Yeah, well, better late than never, right? Emmy crosses her arms and stares at me coolly, as if sizing me up. Finally, she nods. I suppose you're right. Water under the bridge, then. I forgive you. Is that all? Her almost impatient question catches me off guard that she's already halfway down the track before I think to shout after her. No, wait! She doesn't seem to have heard me, or she doesn't want to hear me, so I give in chase, disregarding completely the fact that I'm not dressed for it. My feet hurt, and my shirt collar feels like a noose around my neck, but I still chase after her, because if I don't, I'll lose my chance. Anyways, friends are back, so continue later. Alright, welcome back. My friends decided to go out for dinner, and so yeah, I decided to record a little after finally got done rendering and a part got cut off. I was really pissed. That was the part where I had to edit. I hate Sony Vegas, but it was such a small part, I really did not care, so. Anyways, my feet hurt, and my shirt collar feels like a noose around my neck, but I still chase after her, because if I don't, I'll lose my chance. Emmy hasn't started to really accelerate yet, which is probably the only reason why I'm able to catch up to her, to reach out and tap her on her shoulder just before my legs give up running in dress shoes and stumble to a stop. Surprisingly, fortunately, all that running seems to have paid off. I'm short of breath, yes, but at least my heart isn't actively trying to force its way out of my rib cage. My touch on her shoulder has stopped Emmy. While there is a flash of concern when she sees me catching my breath, it seems that she has a good idea of what I'm capable of, too. The concern is short-lived. What? She seems so irritated by my being still there that I almost lose my nerve, but I've lost my nerve enough. I need to explain myself. Why I can't just let the matter rest. Emmy folds her arms and bounces one blade on the ground in an approximation of tapping her foot impatiently. Angry as she is, and as nervous as I am, she still looks beautiful. Okay, Hisao, explain. The thing is, I know that you're really sensitive about the accident, about your dad. I can see Emmy's face twitch at the mention of the two things that have been steadily driving us apart, or at least made me feel like we're being driven apart. Jesus Christ. But that's why I want to know about them, I think. Because I see how much they hurt you, and I want to be there to comfort you. It makes me miserable seeing you sleepless and depressed. And don't pretend you aren't, because I know, okay? I just remember that night when you fell asleep with me and had that nightmare. And that you were happy to have me there when you woke up. I want to be able to be there for you like that whenever you need me to be. The stern face cracks slightly. Emmy interrupts before I can continue further. Just stop right there. We can't see each other anymore, okay? She's rushing now, looking everywhere but at me. I'm surprised she doesn't bolt. She knows I can't catch her. We're not right for one another. That's not true, and you know it. No, it's true. You're too. I know that I've been pushy about knowing your past. If you can't tell me yet, then at least let me be there, even if I don't know the reason. It's okay, I promise. I won't ask why you need comfort. I'll just give it freely. Emmy shaking her head, and tears seemed to be threatening the corner of her eyes. No! Stop saying that. Why? Because you're afraid you'll take me up on it? I'm not afraid. I can't keep the chiding tone from my voice as I respond. Yes, you are. You told me so yourself, remember? That's okay, really it is. However, it seems to me that someone who'd managed to come up out of that wreck and still be energetic and cheerful as you are would be determined enough to face that fear. Determination? What do you know about determination? I know that there's a girl so determined to take care of a total stranger that she'd steal his food at a festival. Or not there's a girl so determined to help me with my own problems that she'd draw up a complete dietary and exercise plan. And that she'd not only draw up the plans, but she'd follow them with me even when she couldn't run. Determined enough to keep me at arm's length that she'd put herself through emotional pain if she thought it was the right thing to do. Ooh, he's doing pretty good. Although there was only one thing to be determined. Now, friends are back, so I'll record later. Alright, we're back, and I sound a little tired. Got up about like 20 minutes ago, and I just needed to record, so they were arguing last I recall. Kind of. But, oh yeah, almost on the verge of breakup. Ugh. I still don't remember plans today. I'm just like, I need a day off. And some of you would argue, oh, you get, 4 days, oh, technically fine, but sometimes you just need that day off. I wanted to take it Tuesday, but I couldn't because I had an exam, so. Anyways, shall we continue? Of course we shall, 'cause if you're this far, you probably love the storyline. I know I do. I'm absolutely in love with this game. It's hard to record anything else. I haven't yet. I haven't needed to because I've had videos just saved up I had never uploaded. Probably since my computer was having troubles, and now it's like, oh, no. I can upload them aside with Katawa Shoujo, so if you don't want to watch Katawa Shoujo, you have that. Yeah, I just uploaded part 10 of Katawa Shoujo and a couple other things. I actually think I canceled The Walking Dead because I was so tired last night. I was like, fuck, I need to go to bed, so. Although there's one thing that this determined girl didn't quite plan for, which was that I might feel the same kind of determination to keep her from being hurt. I fell in love with you, and I refuse to let that be thrown away because you're afraid of losing me. What little control Emmy still has at this point cracks. I find myself suddenly enveloped in her embrace as she cries. Why are you doing this? Why can't you just leave me alone? I hold her close and plant a kiss on the top of her head. I'm sorry, Emmy. You helped me when I first arrived, and now I have to help you. It's only fair. You're utterly hopeless. Did you know that? She hiccups and trembles a little. Funny, I could say the same about you. Oh! Can you do something for me, Hisao? Anything. Oh no. Can you go now? Feels like she's just shoved a knife through my chest. Go? I need to think, okay? I can't just tell you everything yet. I'm still scared, and when you're around, I can't think clearly. But do me another favor. What's that? Show up for a morning run tomorrow. I smile, feeling better than I have all week. Of course, I would miss it for the world. Emmy steps back slowly, almost reluctantly. She sniffles a little, and then grins at me. A real smile that lights up the track, overpowering the fading evening light. See you tomorrow, Hisao. Okay. She darts forward suddenly, planting a soft kiss on my lips, then steps back shyly. Spinning on her back foot, she takes off running again. I know that our conversation's at an end. My lips tingle with the warmth of that brief kiss and the memories of other longer kisses. I walk back to my room with a spring in my step. Tomorrow, when my alarm goes off, I'll get up. Oh, we at Act 4? I think it's called Act 4, Motion. We are. This is the last part. Act, whatever. The morning sun is bright through my open window, and the sound of my alarm quickly has me up and about. I slept surprisingly well last night, secure in the knowledge that at least I've got another chance with Emmy. If I can just keep myself from doing anything stupid, maybe I'll find out what's been eating her recently. I have a few educated guesses, but nothing concrete, and certainly nothing that I'm going to say to her. I'd much prefer to have her tell me herself. Emmy is waiting for me as promised, looking a little haggard, but otherwise bright and cheerful. Much more so than any previous day this week. Hisao, you're late! I wave my hand dismissively. Nonsense, you're just early. Emmy grins back, and it feels like we're finally back where we should be with one another. Except now Emmy, not just me, wants to take another step forward. Although a part of me worries that she'll back out at the last second. Hurry up and stretch, Hisao. I don't want to miss the bus. The bus? Yeah, the bus. I wanted to show you something, and I don't want to be late. Oh, okay. Oh, I think you might be going to her father's grave, maybe? I try not to grin too hard. I'm happy beyond words that Emmy wants to hang out after the run at all. But her promise of showing me something has even more intrigued. Is that what she's had to think about? I wonder just what she's planning to do. I quickly go through my warm-up routine while Emmy bounces impatiently from one foot to the other. She really does seem to want to get moving as soon as possible. The run is over so quickly I can barely believe that I haven't fallen over dead afterwards. Emmy sets a blistering pace, and I, in my foolishness, kept up with her. Well, until the last few laps, I had to slow down just in case, but I don't mind, and Emmy's waiting patiently for me at the finish, as patiently as she can wait anyway. Finished? Good, come on. Covering my arm, she practically rushes me down to the nurse's office. You seem in a hurry, Emmy, trying to catch the early bus? Yeah, I told Mom I'd be back for lunch. Well, I'll take care of you first then. But Hisao's gotta come with me too. The nurse raises a single eyebrow as the statement peers at the two of us searchingly. Really? Today, huh? Emmy's response is a nod followed by a surprisingly shy grin. Well then, we'll make this quick. Emmy enters the nurse's office, and I patiently wait outside for her to be finished, wondering just why the nurse seemed to be surprised by Emmy's declaration. I feel like I'm missing out on some joke or the significance of today, beyond the fact that it's clearly significant in some way, of course. True to his words, the nurse has Emmy out of his office surprisingly quick, and I take her place after promising to meet up at the front gate. The nurse takes my pulse. I thought it said purse for a second. I was like, what? My pulse, and listens for a bit. Your heart beats faster than usual. Been pushing yourself again, have you? Well, Emmy seemed in a rush to get through the run, so I'm not surprised. Today is rather important to her, you know. I suspected that be the case, but I have no idea why that's the case. She hasn't told you? Interesting. She's not going to tell me either, then? No, I'm not. I suspect that Emmy has her own plan for explaining today to you. I don't want to mess with that. You'll find out soon enough, so what's the rush? Now, as for your heart, I would take it easy the rest of the day. No spontaneous races or anything like that. Got it? Got it. She won't have her running legs on anyway, right? No, but if you think something like that is going to stop her. Good point. I don't think it'll be much of an issue today for all days, but still. If he's trying to reassure me, he's doing a terrible job. I'm quickly becoming more and more worried about what today could be for. Like suddenly finding out Emmy's in a cult or something. At the same time, if today is such a big deal and Emmy wants me to be with her for it, then maybe she really does want to grow closer to me. Maybe this will be the answer to all the riddles and to the sleepless nights, to the sudden mood swings. Either way, I can barely remember to thank the nurse before taking off as quickly as I dare from my room to get a shower and throw on some decent-looking clothes. If today is as important as it seems to be, I should dress appropriately. Emmy, of course, proves me wrong as soon as I reach the front gate wearing her usual shirt and shorts. So at least I know it's not a terribly formal affair, whatever it is. You're early, Hisao. Not as early as you. Eager, are we? Emmy cheekily pokes out her tongue. The bus stop isn't very crowded at this hour, which seems to please Emmy, and we end up relaxing little as we wait. We sit in silence for a while, but I can tell that Emmy's trying to work herself up to say something. I don't have anything to say myself, so I sit waiting for her to talk. It doesn't take too long. So, I'm sure you're curious as to why the nurse thought it was weird for me to be bringing you along today. I was a bit, yes, but if you're not ready to tell me... Amy stops my sentence by placing a finger on my lips. Don't tempt me, Hisao. I want to tell you this, but I'm just uncertain as to how to go about it. I don't want to keep delaying or deferring. I just want to be able to say it. So say it. You know that it's not going to be that easy for me, Hisao. So treat it like running. Warm up to it with something small and easy, and go from there. But don't do it too fast, okay? I'm a patient man. I can wait for you to get to it. Emmy seems to consider my words. Weighing them against... That's actually pretty damn good advice. Weighing them against what is probably a desire to get it over with. I will admit, as much as I keep telling Emmy to take her time, I wouldn't mind her getting it over with either. But somehow I know that Emmy probably needs more time than the bus ride will provide to get it all out, whatever it is. Yeah, maybe you're right. The bus stop probably isn't the best place for this anyways. But just make sure that I don't go back on my word. I'll at least say this. She takes a deep breath, lets it out, and after a moment says in a low voice, "We're going to see my dad today." The words hang in the air, and I can see that Emmy's afraid that I'll panic and disappear in response, which a part of me almost wants to do. It would be stupid of me to back out, or to suddenly abandon the promise I made to be there for Emmy when she needs me. The nurse thought it was so weird of her to bring me along. She doesn't bring anyone along. At least I'm willing to bet that she hasn't before today. The day seems to have taken on an even greater significance. What has it taken Emmy to even get this far? Ah! Why is it that the best I can manage as a response? Yeah. I don't know what I should say. Nothing, I think. Just promise that you're going to come with me. Of course, you know I will. Emmy smiles wanly, looking a little relieved. Good. In that case, we'd better get going. The bus pulls up just a little after she finishes the sentence. Vague memories of my first trip out here come to mind, and I have to step off the bus, but unfortunately they're too vague to be of any use. I will be the first to admit that I don't quite recall how to get to Emmy's house, so I let her lead the way. She seems content to walk in silence, and I myself have no idea what I could possibly say, so the two of us arrive at her house, having said nothing since getting off the bus. Emmy's mother opens the door, and doesn't seem surprised to see me standing next to her daughter. I expect that Emmy would have phoned ahead to let her mother know of the change in plans. Emmy, Hisao, you're just in time. Lunch is just about ready. Great, I was afraid we might be running late. As fast as you were going this morning, I doubt there's much of a chance of that. I certainly hope she wasn't too much of a bother, Hisao. She tends to get a little paranoid about being on time when food's involved. I hadn't noticed. This earns me a swat on the arm from Emmy, who, despite the serious nature of her conversation on the bus and the almost brooding quiet walk, has quickly become cheerful again. Probably to keep her mother from worrying about whatever it is Emmy plans to tell me later. Mrs. Abarazaki ushers us in, and in short order we're around the table devouring lunch. I hadn't realized how hungry I was until I got there, and for once I seemed to be eating almost as much as Emmy. Goodness, it's a good thing I made so much. The two of you are acting like you haven't eaten in days. I skipped breakfast this morning. Me too. Had to catch the bus, I assume? That, and I figured you'd make too much food, so it wouldn't matter if I skipped breakfast. Well, it's good to know that I'm predictable. Emmy nods enthusiastically, and conversation falls off again as we very nearly cleared the table of anything edible. It is a testament to the sheer amount of food on offer that we don't finish everything. I lay back in my chair with a sigh and thank Mrs. Barazaki for the food. I'm glad you liked it, Hisao. Now, has Emmy told you where we're going? Yeah, sort of. Is it far from here? Not really, but we'll drive there to save time. It closes kind of early. I nod in assent, stand up ready to go. Well then, shall we? Mrs. Abarazaki nods and leaves the room to grab her keys. Emmy, I noticed, started to fidget nervously. Second thoughts? Emmy smiles tightly at me and shrugs. She'd fallen silent again, which probably means that I'm right, and she is starting to regret bringing me along. Not that... Hold her hand, damn it! Not that I blame her. She's done such a good job of shutting me out. I doubt it's easy to suddenly open up. Honestly, I'm worried that she's forcing it. But she said while waiting for the bus that I'm not supposed to give her a chance to back out, and since I promised to go with her anyway, I suppose there's not much of a choice. I can't go back on my promise, and she can't go back on hers. And just if the both of us are up to it. Again, you should hold her hand. We're off. Emmy's mother blows through the dining room, collects the two of us, and heads for the door at a brisk pace. Now I know where her daughter gets it from. The car pulls up at the cemetery gates, and I feel Emmy tense up beside me. I reach over, give her hand a comforting squeeze, which causes her to relax a little. Emmy's mother doesn't follow us, explaining that she prefers to visit the grave alone. Emmy steps through the gate and looks back, as if to make sure I'm still there. We step into the cemetery. I don't feel comfortable in cemeteries. Gravestones litter the ground, each one serving as a reminder that someone used to be alive and is no longer. How many died young? How many were as old as I am now? When do I wind up with a marker of my own? How much longer do I have left? The concept of not waking up, not seeing Emmy anymore, is not a happy one. It frightens me, and I very nearly turn around and exit right then and there. I don't want to go among dead people. I don't want to see their stones and think about who they were or what they could have been if they'd only had more time. Then look at the girl next to me. My resolve returns. Emmy's striding purposely down the path, eyes clear, setting a pace that's nearly a jog. The sooner we get there, I suspect she thinks, the better. We're here. A gravestone, wholly unremarkable in every aspect except for the name etched upon it. The grass has grown up around the base. Emmy's eyes are riveted to the stone. After a few moments, she turns around looking surprisingly calm yet solemn. Pink's not actually my favorite color, you know. Or what? I'm warming up to it. Ah. People tend to think that pink's my favorite color. I think it's because I like strawberries, and even though they are red, they just assume that pink's the right color for strawberries. And that it's my favorite color. But it's not. I'm too polite to tell anyone otherwise, of course, and it's not kind of thing worth getting worried about, but I'll bet even you thought pink was my favorite color. Blue. That's my favorite color. My mom and dad are the only two who know that, and now you do, too. Thanks for telling me, I think. Hold her hand, damn it. You need, like... I think that... Maybe you already are or something. I don't know, but... I don't know. Maybe I'm just better at comforting or something? I don't know. You're welcome. Here's a pause as she considers what to say next, drawing a quick breath. I can't carry a tune to save my life. I can hum, but actually singing a song is anything I've never been able to do. I don't mind because I'm not a fan of karaoke anyway. Well, that's one potential date idea out of the window. People all think that I'm really popular and friendly person, but I only have a few close friends. Probably because I keep everyone in the dark, but I think it's also because I hate the idea of losing a close friend. There aren't many people worth the risk. I'm terrible at saying goodbye. I sometimes think that I only run because it's what I used to do with my father. You're not my first boyfriend. I dated a guy for a long while during my second year at Yamaku, but in the end we broke up because I didn't want to get closer to him. He couldn't live with that distance between us. Her rate of speaking increases slightly, as if rushing towards a finish line. I'm actually 1 year older than you. Everybody thinks I'm younger because I'm short, but I had to skip one school year because of my accident. They initially thought I was paralyzed when they pulled me out of the wreckage. I'd lost my legs already, but they weren't afraid. They were afraid I wouldn't ever be able to use what was left of them. After surgery, it was clear their initial assessment was wrong. I couldn't feel my legs because of shock, short-term paralysis due to the other trauma I'd experienced. My recovery was one of the fastest they'd ever seen, or so they told me. I never found out if they were serious about that, or if they told that to all the patients learning to walk again. She pauses, gathering herself for one last effort. 8 years ago today, I lost my legs, and I lost my father as well. He died on the way to the hospital. I didn't even get to go to the gravesite until 2 months later, and couldn't attend his funeral. I'm so sorry. Don't be. That's what everyone always says, that they're sorry. I hate hearing that. Like anyone could have done anything to change what happened. You know the best piece of advice I got? These things happen. I don't even remember who said it. but I guess they didn't have anything better to say. But it's true, you know, these things happen, and there's nothing you can do about it. They aren't necessarily planned, they aren't always bad, and they aren't always good, but they are. So I made the decision that I would live without worrying about the future, to be sure that I never had to say goodbye again. I decided I wouldn't let people get close to me anymore. After all, they could be taken away at any time, you know what? And you know what? She laughs a little bitterly. Her eyes start to well up with tears, and I step forward to embrace her, but she holds up a hand to stop me. Not finished. A deep breath, and she continues. It worked pretty well, until I met you and saw that you were trying to adjust to stuff here. So I thought I'd help, and then you were so nice, and I couldn't help it. The tears flowing now, and she accepts the embrace this time. The rest of her sentences mumbled into my chest. Her fake legs don't look that bad, really. Especially if she puts stockings over them. I bet, like, besides the clunking. I tried not to fall for you, but I did. Then I tried to keep you at a distance, like with my first boyfriend, but I couldn't. But I've been so scared, because I don't want to lose you, and I might anyway. Hey, I'm still around, right? Maybe I won't be forever, but don't you think it'll be fun while it lasts? Neither of us could survive the day. There could be a bus crash. Oh, jeez, I don't think you should go into this or something, but so long as I know that I've been with you, I don't think it matters. A sudden thought strikes me, and I can't help laughing. My condition had me scared of dying so badly that I immediately seized on the opportunity Emmy presented to me to improve my odds of living longer. But without Emmy, would there have been any motivation to keep up with my running? It hits me that Emmy is the reason. I want to go running every day, so I can spend as much time with her as possible. Emmy looks up at me, confused. We'll go on living until we stop, and when we stop living, we'll be able to know that at least we've had time together. I wouldn't have it any other way, because I love you, Emmy. And right now, that's enough for me. Emmy smiles through her tears and steps back from me. You know, it's funny. What is? I thought that the best way to live in the moment was to do it alone, but now I don't think I'd have it any other way either. I'm glad I met you, Hisao. Well, these things happen.